Greetings and welcome to episode 5 of Lesbian Training for Men. The name of today's topic is Just Say No. There is a difference between being nice and being kind. And as we move into this particular issue today, I want to congratulate and give kudos to the sentiment in you, particularly you men, who really do stand up, take your place in wanting to help and be a part of the solution when a solution is clearly called for. I've always specifically admired this trait in men because, as in the last episode we discussed, someone like my brother, who is a systems guy, will actually move to resolve a situation quickly, methodically, and a considerable amount of proaction, which leads to high efficacy, usually, in the end. Now, I don't know if it's because I'm a lesbian. I don't know if it's because I have grown up, for the most part, without a father. And no, I don't think I'm a lesbian because I grew up without a father. My sister is not a lesbian, and she grew up in the same household I did, and I can assure you she is quite straight. But what I can say is that along with my upbringing, or as in the South we call rearing, we Southerners consider rearing a very important part of how a person ends up developing. And that's because those are the nuts and bolts of the country. People can think that the economy and the governmental infrastructure is independent of that, but it's not. And in fact, I would say that elites, politicians, and those who have some kind of control, whether it's monetary, otherwise, or both, also like to think that whatever island they sit on, from whence they control some things, has nothing to do, really, with people, except to control them. And it's simply not true. If you were to break down the fabric of our family, really to its most basic core, it would be relationships and ways in which people actually understand how that works. That's really another reason why I'm doing lesbian training for men, because it's one window where that comes into play. And it's also a greatly overlooked area where men are not really given the tools that they were given, say, 30 or 40 years ago, or even 20, and then expected to perform well in our world, in our country, in our states, in our cities, in our neighborhoods, and in our homes. And so Just Say No is really, it's an old throwback from the Reagan era. Nancy Reagan was just say no to drugs. And everybody knows that little tagline, just say no. And I say today, just say no to that which is not for you to do. How do you know what is yours to do and what isn't? There's a few things I'd like to bring up. Because of the reduction of role models as the fatherless home statistics have skyrocketed, particularly in the last 30 and 40 years, and remained at very high levels, suffice it to say that I think that there is some confusion around what is duty and what is obligation. What is actually bonding us together, and what do we consider and perhaps react to as binding us in some way. When we get to the bottom of what it is that's actually for us to do, some of it is a human responsibility, regardless of gender. And so I would encourage everyone, but especially you men, who sometimes feel confused in a situation. Should I open the door for her? Should I not? Should I say ma'am? Should I say lady? Should I say miss? That while it is always commendable to be polite and have manners, that it is also your duty to be that way with yourself first. I would also say that in an effort to avoid any bad feelings, bad blood, or ways in which we perceive our contributions to an atmosphere that's not quite comfortable, let us first back up a little bit and view the situation as if we are watching our life outside of ourselves. Therefore, not missing the opportunity to actually bond deeper through the truth of your expression about your being and your decisions. And so the tip of the day is this, that since we ultimately only answer to God and ourselves, and that we are always in God's keeping in our expression and in our lives, that we can truly trust the direction and the duty that God has assigned for us and leave others to work out their own.